All right. So we start with Kayakalpa Yoga theory. Let's understand the factors which is core to Kayakalpa Yoga, and we over the period of next 1 week daily we'll understand each of the separate components of Kayakalpa Yoga. Knowing this, and only knowing this very clearly, will help us to do mastery in Kayakalpa practice. All right. So Kayakalpam means, we know that Kaya means body, Kalpa means immortal. Right? Is it practically possible to make the body immortal, to make the body live forever? Though, for most people, we haven't seen it in that aspect, but there are some anecdotal evidence of some rishis or people who have attained Jima Samadhi. You've seen them, even though they don't seem like moving or anything, in their Samadhi, we have seen that the body seems to be live forever without decomposing. So Veeratri Maharishi researched on this aspect, and he found a way to apply this practice while living itself so that we can get the complete benefit of this practice. Okay, this is what we are going to see today. The 3 takeaways from Kayakalpa Yoga are living youthfully and disease-free, maintain the health as long as you want live, and postpone death until you want, or live the full span of life. These are the 3 aspects of Kayakalpa Yoga. Okay. Now, to understand the effect of Kayakalpa Yoga, we need to understand. Okay, well, let me see how we can type in here. Those who attended Kayakalpa would have noticed do we have anyone less than 14 years in this group?
No, Karthik, my son left.
All right. It's a very poor handwriting. Let me fix on this sometime. The essence of Kayakalpam is understanding the relationship between these 5 factors. Okay. Over the period of next 5 days, we'll be thinking about each of these 5 factors: body, mind, biomagnetism, life force, and SPF, or biovital fluid. this understanding this relationship is the core to Kayakalpa. And today we are going to think about body and how that is interrelated with other of these factors. Okay, let's do a small, I'm going to use a pedagogical approach, asking questions and trying to make sure that you realize something. Okay, so please bear with me if I was very instructive. All right, let's start with understanding this. Can you guys see this? What is this?
Which one? We can see the one.
What is this?
Which
Wheat
one?
flour.
No, only whiteboard you can see.
Oh, you can see only the whiteboard? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Full screen.
I have to exit full screen then. Okay. Okay, this is better. All right. So, what is this?
Okay, so white flour.
Wheat flour, right? Wheat flour. It is flowing, free flowing. You see this?
Yeah.
Okay, it's flowing freely. And what is this?
Binded flour, binding with water.
Wheat flour bound together into one shape. And why is this in a shape and the other one is not in a shape?
There is no binding factor.
There is no binding factor. There is no force which is attaching. If you see the same thing, if you apply the same analogy on soil, say if you take a soil and beat sand, and if you take it and pour, it will just easily flow. Okay. If you want it to be bound together, it won't flow into shape. If you want it to be bound together, there should be some agent, some force that has to put them together. Right? Now, apply it in your body. Okay. We know that our body is made up of small cells. Okay. But are these cells just falling down? We have a shape, right? We have a form, we have a shape, isn't it? What makes the body cells bound together? Applying the same analogy, there should be some force that binds everything together, right? And that binding force is what I'm going to call as biomagnetism or biomagnetic force. Okay? Let's just assume that there is we know that there should be some force that binds everything together. And let's name that force as biomagnetic force for now. Then we'll go and understand why it is named such way and what are the consequences of that. Okay, so what is the role of each cell in the body? It gets the input energy from food. From there, it absorbs the energy. After that, it has to excrete the waste. If it doesn't excrete the waste, the cell will burst, right? So this is the three roles of a cell. Assimilate energy, get the input, from there absorb the energy, and then send the waste out. Okay, these are the three roles of the cell. Now, to do any work, we need to spend energy. Right? So to move anything, so from a single cell point of view, for a single cell to get the food in, something has to be moved. For that, it has to spend some fuel, right? If anything needs to move, it has to spend some fuel. That fuel, and from there, it has to move something out. That also needs to spend some energy, fuel. Some work has to be done. For that, some energy has to be spent. That fundamental energy which is spent in the body, the energy currency of each cell in the body, let's call it as biomagnetism. Okay, let's have that as a definition. How do we get this biomagnetism? Where do we get this biomagnetism? Where is the energy input coming from? It is coming from food. Most of the input can come only from food, right? So the food which we consume is becoming the digestive juice after juice. And from the digestive juice, it gets absorbed into the bloodstream. And from the bloodstream, it goes into the flesh and tissues, and then fat, bone marrow, brain, and vital fluids in the body. This is the step-by-step process in which the energy is absorbed from the food and stored in various aspects of the body. Okay. Now, the same energy is required for our mental functions as well. We understood everything requires energy. So that means even for the functioning of our thought and mind and brain, we need energy, right? And how it affects, how the energy affects our mind functions, how it would, the capability and the ability to listen and everything is affected with energy. We'll see it in the next segment tomorrow, right? And the relationship between biomagnetism and mind, we'll see tomorrow. Be blessed by the divine. Right? Anybody have any questions so far?